Hey, welcome back. You're watching iAllegedly, and by popular demand, we've got Bob. And because of the content and how much we had, we wanted to do this as two separate videos, and I have all your questions right here. So we had over 100 questions that were sent, and in the spirit of time and everything else, I'm not going to ask the same question 4 times. So we cut it down, and the people that said I can use their name, we're going to use your name. But please don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget Bob runs Trade Genius. If you go to danlovestrading.com, he has set up a bundle discount for us. You can learn trading on options, stocks, crypto, metals, everything. Check it out today. But let's get right into it.
Yeah, before we do that too, and also respond to us on the you're interested in doing a webinar.
Oh, the webinar.
More like a workshop.
Yeah, like a workshop for next month. In September, clear your head in this election nonsense and go learn how to trade stocks and where to put your money, okay, with Bob. But if you guys are interested in that, just say, yes, I'd like that, because we'll have an email announcement and we'll do that later. So.
And Dan wouldn't let me leave, and he made sure we wore the same clothes for this podcast.
Okay. First one is from Dennis. How long do you think we have until we see a crippling cost of living crisis?
It's gonna probably slowly accelerate, and then probably, I would say, when we go into recession and prices don't come down, the panic move by the government will cause the crippling cost of living. For a lot of people, it's already crippling. So
absolutely,
if you make less than $150,000 a year, you're feeling. If you make less than $100,000 a year, you're hurting. And if you make less than $50,000, you're dead meat.
Yeah,
absolutely. So it's already starting.
Absolutely. My question is for this: how will the QQQ behave for the remainder of the year?
So September is a bad month for the Qs, and so when this market rolls over, the Qs will be hit disproportionately. However, there's a new product out there, a high yield product called YQQQ, and if you want to trade it, just come with us. We'll show you how to trade it.
Okay, that was from Larry, by the way. And next one's from Craig. I'm in my late 50s with a 401k mix set up with Fidelity to assume I'll retire at 65. What should I do to protect my 401k, assuming that the recession is imminent?
You know, what people do, look, and I can't give specific advice out. So what people do is when interest rates start to roll down because the Fed is sensing a recession, people shift their money from stocks into bonds. So depending on if you have control over your 401k or not, you want to start looking at those long bonds as a hedge, cash as a hedge, and depending on how the Fed reacts, you know, ironically, even gold might be good, but for the most part, is that you want to take less risk. Look, I'm taking less risk, and I do this for a living. So
Warren Buffett's taking less risk right now. You know?
And he's smarter than I am.
Yeah. So okay, that was William that asked that. This one's Craig.
And it's okay if, you know, if 3 or 4 years you don't make a lot of money in the market, because your friends are going to be losing 40 to 50%.
Laura from Connecticut says, listen, I really know very little about stock investing, and I just want to learn the basics. What do you recommend?
Yeah, so there's a couple ways to go about it. One is, and you know, I'm shilling for myself for a second, but you can buy coaching from us. You can just get the basic package from us. That, you know, you learn while you earn, kind of a thing, or you can come to the webinar that we're going to do, the workshop we're going to do. You know, other than that, you know, the only other way to learn is to get out there on the net and start Googling stuff and do start trading, paper trading, and trying to figure it out. But we can absolutely accelerate you by those 3 approaches.
Now, the next one is Andrea. She, you know, asked about crypto. You covered that earlier about where you think it's going to go. What do you think about XRP in particular?
Yeah, I understand the appeal of XRP to people because it's a nice transmission thing, but it's totally inflationary. They can just create as much XRP as they want whenever they want. It's not decentralized. I think there's 5 nodes.
Okay.
So I would treat it as a trade, not as a second coming of Bitcoin.
Okay, good. David writes, I think a crash is inevitable. If we do have a crash, do you think we could see 40, 50, or 60% down in the market?
Yes.
Okay. Wow. Okay. 50-year-old federal employee with about 350K in TSP. That's their federal savings account that they have. And what do you think about fund allocation and for future money and contributions?
I don't know what your choices are, but the only thing I would tell you from a macro standpoint is that when they start cutting interest rates, big money moves from stocks into bonds. Okay. And then if they start really ramping up the balance sheets of the Federal Reserve, then it's going to become inflationary, and then you're going to shift from bonds into what's called hard assets, energy or Bitcoin or precious metals.
Okay, that was Brian that asked that one. And then could you recommend 2 of the best investments for the greatest returns in a year or two? Is there anything you think that's going to be hot over the course of the next 12 to 24 months?
AI is the last bubble. So I would say, you're probably looking at, believe it or not, probably long bonds are probably going to outperform most everything else. And also take a look at these pair trades that if you pair them right, then you won't find pair trades on there. I create these, but they're just long and short of different things. Those will probably be good. The problem with the market goes down, you can only go down 100%. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
Where you can go long infinitely. So, I'm looking for a bear market. So your first thing is to make sure you don't lose money, but there's nothing coming around the corner. Okay.
Kenneth, Bob talked about the blow off of S&P, Dow, NASDAQ. Bob even said at one time you could see the S&P going to 6,000. Do you still think it could go that high, or is the rocket running out of gas right now?
Well, we're at 5,600 now, so
yeah,
it won't take me much longer to be right. But okay. It's a distinct possibility. I'm in the camp of a lower high. My partner at Trade Genius is in the camp of a blow off top. Now, we both have opinions, and our opinions mean nothing if our algorithm tells us to buy or sell. So right now, we're buying. Okay, we're taking selected trades long, and then we have Jackson Hole on Friday, and then after that, we're going to see if we make a new high into that or not, and that'll inform me into the fall. Now, the market gets really choppy. September shouldn't be a good month. Ironically, October into the election might be a good month, depending on how comfortable the Wall Street is with who's going to win the election.
Okay. Now, Soren and Pam asked 2 different questions, but it's basically the same. Pam wants to know if there's an inexpensive course. Yes, Trade Genius. And Bob, hey, how can I connect with Bob to trade with Bob? And that's what Soren asked. And again, go to danlovestrading.com. You can get access to bundles that he created for us and save a fortune. But you can get access to Bob's partner, and everything. So, if I'm in the next question, so check that out today. Teresa, if I'm literally at retirement age, I do not have a luxury of time to rebuild, what would you do? Is there anything you can do to prepare yourself for a potential crash?
Yeah, all I can tell you is what we're doing as a family. Look, and I can retire at any point, right? So, I don't own anything that I can't create a dividend from, hedge it through what these call these high yield products on the short side, or I could sell calls against it that have a weekly call. Anything speculative you want to be out of. And a crash it's a hard term, because I think this sell-off is not going to be a crash. It's going to be a just like what happened 2000 to 2002. So people ask me what analog that I like the most is, I think it's 2000 to 2002, where energy stays up, but the NASDAQ goes down.
Okay. Next one is from Victor Big Daddy. He is going to succession court next week, which is basically like probate court here in California. And he's getting his mother's home, and he's going to have an influx of cash. And again, to protect yourself, would you go to physical metals? What would you do? Because again, he believes that you're going to see a depression, and he's in Louisiana.
So I'm not a big fan of anything physical, because it's not convenient. Number one. Number two, you go to a grocery store, you may not make it there alive. You're walking around with gold in your pocket. So, if you insist on something hard asset like that, you want to, Bitcoin's a better choice. But if you don't believe Bitcoin's going to go up, You want something that's going to generate income. The way I look at anything that I own, it has to monetize into cash. Okay. So I'm always looking to say, if I own something worth $100,000, it means it's worth nothing to me unless I can generate cash out of it.
Okay.
So that's what you want to look at. And look, we just gone through this with my wife 3 years ago. My daughter just got an inheritance. It was delayed because of her age. And, you kind of have to sneak in on it. Okay. Don't go in there and say I'm rich. Start plumping down onto NVIDIA or anything crazy like that. Take your time, put it in 90-day T-bills, and then allocate out as you see the market over the next 6 to 8, 9 months. Unless you need the money right away, that's a different problem.
I know what you're going to say to this one, so let me just ask the question first, and that is, Douglas asks, are safety deposits safe to store gold and silver?
No.
Is your home safe?
Yeah, if you have a safe.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, and then how to rate banks and how to rate safes. Again, if you have a recommendation on that, I've done a lot of research for you guys, and you've seen, we just talked in our last video about 94 banks that are in trouble, and they're concerned that people are going to do Warren Buffett and pull their money out, the rich people. You guys, we don't stand a chance if they start doing this. You have to understand. So diversification is going to be your key, and safer instruments and safer places are the credit unions. So the thing about a credit union that I like, you can walk in there and say, I'd like to see the financial of this credit union. They will show it to you. You can ask, where are you overexposed? Do you do a lot of loans? What type of loans? So we do car loans. We do, commercial real estate loans. You're going to know where their problems are, and you just want to stay away from things that are bad right now, in my opinion. Okay, I love this one from Mike. Can you recommend a good set it and forget it inflation hedge?
Oil is your set it and forget it inflation hedge. So, I own ExxonMobil is my family's biggest position, and it just keeps grinding on. So if inflation continues, ExxonMobil is going to continue to move higher. I like it because most of their assets in the United States, they divested out of Russia because of the war. And so, yeah, Chevron's a good company. And by the way, that's where Warren Buffett is putting money into Chevron. There's a couple other ones. So that's number one. If you believe inflation is going to continue to accelerate, you want to own energy. That's where big money moves their stuff.
Stan the Man asks, I'm 75 and I have all my emergency funds and 30-day T-bills. I like the safety and ease, and the interest rate. We hear interest rates may go down any day now. If so, would switching to bonds be the way to go?
Yeah, long bonds.
Long bonds.
Because you have to understand, with a long bond, if it goes to zero, your interest may go down, but your principal goes up. In 2008, I flipped out of stocks into TLT. TLT went up 41%. The stock market went down 47%.
Wow. Now, I know you don't give individual recommendations. You don't do that with portfolios. But Mike from Atlanta asked, I have where can I move my telco pension? I want to move out of the investment bank and the administrators and into something stable. Do you recommend talking to individual investment companies or an investment advisor at that point to move a pension?
Yeah, so obviously I don't do that. I have a really good friend. I won't mention here because I don't have Dan's permission, but he's a wealth advisor. I trust days long. Find a wealth advisor that you really trust.
If you want to recommend that, email me.
Email me and I can put you in contact.
Absolutely.
The guy works off low cost, really doing it for a long time. Super high integrity.
Well, that's the thing. If you recommend them, I'm not worried about that.
And I get nothing for it. So just so you know, it's but he has. If you want to get your money out of that. Now, look, my father, when he retired, I begged him to do a lump sum. He didn't do it, and he ran out of money because the company basically went into receivership. Pensions went into receivership. So, if
they're selling these pensions too. We're seeing some crazy stuff right now where they're buying minimum annuities and things like that. And people just don't.
Yeah, you got to be really careful. So you have to, but I would recommend you talk to a wealth advisor or actually even a tax advisor too. These guys have fiduciary responsibility, and especially if they don't get commissions off of your stuff, fee only guy might be a way to go too. But if you get with Dan. I'll get
Yeah,
Dan.
hello@iallegedly.com is the email, and just
Yeah.
send me an email that it's Bob's questions in regards to the financial advisor. And Dominic, Stacy, and Carol basically had the same type of question, and that was, is there a good to medium long-term thing to look at in the economy? I mean, overall, do you think things are going to be stable, or do we just not know right now?
Look, I think we're going to get a dip. They're going to overreact to it, so it's going to be, a dip then a rip in terms of hard assets. So I'm just going to play it hedged through all of 2025 through these pair trades. Look, if you can handle making 20 or 30% a year with reasonable principal risk, then this is the way you want to go for the next 18 months.
Okay, Joe has asked a question that a lot of people have written me about, and that's the Iraqi dinar. Do you think that we're going to see these currencies all of a sudden be worth $40 billion when you've got the dollar crashing? Survey says no.
To my head, go down and tell you, I
Okay.
actually have Hussein dollars. I was in the Marine Corps. My Marine Corps buddies came back and they shot me over. They came to the house and they said, "Here, you're rich. Here's your $1 million Hussein dollar."
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I have it pinned to my wall because it's worth actually 30 cents.
Nice. 30 cents. Okay.
I don't know. You know what's funny? I've been doing this for 11 years. I've been asked about the Iraqi dinar every year since I've been doing trading. Look, if the Iraqi dinar goes to $40 billion, is that we're probably in the age of Babylon and the world is ending.
Okay. Okay. So you don't want to live in that world. Okay. Ron P has said Bob has mentioned Exxon in the past, and Ron owns it as well. And he says, what do you think will happen? Do you think it'll go up if Trump wins the election?
My next target on ExxonMobil is 153. I'm wrong if it gets back under 100.
What's it right now?
118, 40 cents.
Wow, that's a huge. Okay, well that's good to know.
That's not that big of a move. So you're talking 25% move for a company that's. You want to talk about an ATM machine? ExxonMobil's an ATM machine.
Okay, and then the next question from Mike loves liquefied petroleum gas, and LPG has a strong earnings and pays an 11% annualized dividend. How do you feel about that?
Yeah,
it's dropped almost 30% in the month, but do you think it'll go up?
Remember, again, LPG is a shipper, not a. They don't create it; they ship it. And so LPG moved because of the restrictions in the Panama Canal.
Okay.
So just be careful with that one. We love it. I had a double on that one. In general, when we do our next video, I'll give you guys some other energy names. Midstream companies, Google that, are starting to move a little bit now.
Okay.
But I like LPG. You just have to. They're subject to what they can get shipping liquefied petroleum gas through the canals.
Okay, these are some quick questions because I kind of left the wild ones at the end. How do you feel about the DJT stock, the Donald Trump stock?
I've never traded it.
Okay. Do you think that we can get rid of the Fed and just use our Treasury Department? That's what Rod wanted to know.
I think Trump will try. I think it's an interesting question. I used to joke around and said it never happened, but I think they're particularly vulnerable now because you're starting to see a lot of pushback now of the damage that these Federal Reserve have done around the world. So I think you have a situation where it makes logical sense. Here's the thing about it is that conservatives would love to get rid of the Federal Reserve, okay? But also the left would like to get rid of the Federal Reserve because they'd rather have the Treasury do it. So you may have an odd bedfellow, kind of arrangement there. I personally am in the camp is that, if we're going to borrow all our money, why are we taxing people? If I was Trump, I would say I'm getting rid of all taxation. I would do tariffs. I'm getting rid of the Federal Reserve, and the mint will produce whatever additional dollars that we need.
Wow.
And that would be, he probably won't survive the 17 assassination attempts. It'll probably come at him the next morning, but that's probably the right thing to do. We got to get rid of this parasite.
Okay. So final question from Craig, and that is, do you recommend getting rid of your IRA and putting into precious metals ETFs? Is that
why would you have to get rid of your IRA to do that?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Why wouldn't you just trade?
You trade inside your IRA.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't do that. I mean, I mean, even people that, they have IRA, gold IRAs, you just transfer it. So maybe I don't understand the question, but you don't have to get rid of your IRA. Now, if you're saying, should I get rid of what?
Well, if your IRA is just cash, then I mean, if you wanted to buy certain things like that, I think, I'm not going to make a recommendation for that, but I just think that metals are going to go up. I mean, if you guys knew the usage of just silver alone, and silver is inexpensive when you compare it to the price of gold, and the uses that we have for it that are not going to go away. Even if solar tanks and drops off, it's still going to be used in solar. Even if EV cars drop off, it's still used dramatically in both of those industries, and medical too.
I own Heckler Mines, U.S.-based silver miner. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of physical. I don't think it's convenient. I can't monetize it. In fact, I have a safe full of silver that I'd at some point I want to get high enough so I can get rid of it.
Okay.
So I'd rather own something and make money from it every week.
Okay. So thank you guys again. Go to danlovestrading.com. The link will be below. Also look at if you guys want Bob to do a training seminar in September, send us your interest. Let us know, and we would do it we'll figure out a time and webinar. You can watch it online. You won't need to come here or anything like that. And
it'll be interactive too. So we've done online workshops before, and so we may limit the size of it. So just first come, first serve.
But also let us know if you're interested in that too.
Yeah.
So don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thank you for all the questions. You guys, they were great. They were fantastic. And Onward and Upward, like, subscribe, all that stuff. Okay? I'll see you guys very soon.
You guys like my glowing here in the sun?
They cut the trees behind us. That's why the sun's a little wilder.
We're not actually angels.
And we can't spin around to the pool to show you everybody swimming and stuff like that.
Yeah. And we haven't got kicked out yet.
No, not yet. It's 2 years.
All right. I'll see you guys.
We'll see you guys soon. Thank you.